So yesterday was my 21st birthday and every person I invited over decided not to show up without any explanation. I spent the night watching TV alone. Reddit, what are some of your horrible birthday stories? My son invited most of his class to his 6th birthday party. No one showed up. He was so very sad. He didn't want to go to school the next Monday. I told him no one would know that no one else showed up, and it ended up okay. His birthday is close to Christmas, so we have it super early now. Poor little guy. The same happened to my son last year. It was his 4th birthday and we invited everyone in his class and a couple of my friend's kids. 2 kids from his class turned up, and my friend's kids, he didn't seem to care, but I felt awful for him. His birthday is the week before Christmas. Maybe that had something to do with it. Recently my daughter was invited to a friend's birthday party. It was a rainy weekend and my wife had some other plans, so I took on the task of taking her. We get there, about right on time, and my daughter is the only friend there. The little girl's face lit up so much when my daughter go there. It was crazy. An hour or so later, she's still the only friend at the party, and that's how it stayed. There was some family members, kids, but no schoolmates. I didn't want to stay as long as we did, but I felt bad for the other little girl that I let them hang out longer than I might have otherwise. To be fair, the girl's mom just had a new baby and didn't really get out any invitations until a couple days before. Not sure if that was the excuse or just they don't plan anything. The birthday girl had been telling her friends for a week or two she was having a party but hadn't really said when, where, or written anything down. Anyway, I'm very glad we went. My daughter isn't very social and doesn't have a lot of friends, and perhaps now she has one that's a little bit closer. To the OP, happy belated birthday. You're such a great friend's dad for letting your daughter keep a friend company on her birthday longer than you had intended. Well, it was my 18th, and my first after starting university. Throughout high school, I was fairly well off and was usually pretty generous. I talked to all my friends and they all wanted to come until I mentioned they might have to kick in half for their dinner. All bailed except one, who I got depressed and cancelled. My World of Warcraft guild got together and sent me a tray of muffins and a time card. It's always a crappy day when the only people who even pretend to care on your birthday are people who you've never met in real life. Thank you, the Muffin Kings, for giving a single frick. Dude, college friends aren't real friends. Just wait. Retirement home friends. Now those are the ones that are there to the end. On my 21st birthday, I got an email that would change my life forever. I still remember the day quite clearly. I was living in Japan at the time, and I was sitting at the bar having lunch when my phone dinged to let me know I had a message. It was an email from TED DNA testing company with the results of my DNA test between myself and my son. They were a 99.9999999999999999997% match. I was ecstatic, but the joy was fleeting. I called the then ex-GF to deliver the news. I remember being so happy dialing that number. She answered, listened to what I had to say, then proceeded to tell me that it didn't matter. She doesn't like who I am. She doesn't like what I do for a living. She doesn't think I'd make a good father. I was taken aback. I thought she was kidding and tried to laugh it off, but she solidified it all by hanging up the phone. I'd never known a feeling so painful. I imagine being shot hurts less than the words I had heard in that call. I fought a good fight from then on, but I never talked to her again. Legal counsel recommended I not try to take her to court for custody because she will win. I have no support network. I live in a foreign nation. I used to follow her Facebook and look at pictures of him, but after they started timeline, all her stuff became private. I've never even met him. TLDR. Frick my 21st birthday. I'm throwing a party for my birthday, which is today, on the 9th, and I'm terrified that this is going to happen to me. Probably doesn't mean all that much coming from a faceless internet person such as myself, but happy birthday. Here's hoping you have a great one. I've worked on my birthday for 5 years in a row. Last year I was unemployed at the time of my birthday. My friends and I made plans to actually go out and do something. The day before my birthday I got called to an interview where they told me I had a job. They wanted me to start the next day, so I cancelled my plans, went out and bought some work clothes and showed up for my first day of work. When I arrived, I found that there were 6 other girls there and that we were actually being interviewed again and that we would do a day of training. It then came out that only 2 people would leave with jobs. Our training consisted of us doing 5 hours worth of kitchen labor. At the end of the day 2 girls were chosen and everyone else walked away jobless. I was not one of those girls and I wasted my birthday on unpaid work. If you live in the US, it was illegal for them not to pay you for that. My 20th birthday, I woke up at 8 AM, went to class in the crappy cold rain. When I got there and found out class was cancelled, I was pretty bummed, especially since I had no ride home for 3 hours. Next, my sister takes me out to lunch where we find out our grandfather has to have emergency open heart surgery. Awesome. After that mess, I went to see my now ex-girlfriend at school because she refused to drive home to see me. We go out to dinner. She doesn't have money because she spent it all on booze earlier in the week. I have to pay for my own dinner. Next, we go back to her dorm room for some birthday sexy time. But instead we have a talk and she breaks up with me. Worst birthday I've ever had. Whoa. Making you pay then breaking up with you on your birthday. Cold. I spent my 21st birthday with a wire sticking out of my back. I had a trial unit of a nerve simulator installed before they put in the real one. The trial unit consisted of a controller unit that I wore on my belt that attached to a wire that went into my back and floated next to a nerve. Basically, I had to be very careful with my movements, otherwise I could pull the wire out or move it away from the nerve. And I couldn't shower for the 1.5 weeks I had it in. My birthday was in the middle of that period. Needless to say, I spent my birthday trying not to move much, smelling like crap, and not really wanting people around. I couldn't even drink in fear that I'd become reckless and frick up the wire. However, the trial was a success and I now have a $50,000, before insurance, implant floating around above my butt. For my 19th birthday, I organized a party at a friend's house with tons of booze and tons of snacks. My army buddy whose house it was at even procured Everclear for the jungle juice. I invited pretty much everyone I knew and told them to invite their friends. One friend showed up. 6 years later, I tried again. I organized a taste tripping party where you take these miracle berry tablets that change the way your tongue tastes food. Sour tastes sweet. I had a bunch of different foods on a platter for people to try tasting. Again, I invited everyone I knew. Only one friend and his girlfriend showed up. I've decided to stop throwing birthday parties. Your parties sound awesome. I would have gone. Friend of mine was having a birthday party at a cake cafe. I took my time getting there and ended up being 1 hour late, figuring that there would be enough people around that I could just hang out. Anyway, when I got there was no one else around, just my friend sitting at a table by herself eating cake. Turns out that no one else had even shown up, except me, and I was 1 hour late. It was my 18th birthday, and I had put the cake in front of me but weren't singing yet. My friend walked up behind me to slam my face in the cake. She didn't realize the candles were on it and lit. It wasn't the burning. They went out fast enough. I was surprised by the TARDIS my mom drew on the cake and my mouth was open. So when she slammed my head, a candle went down my throat. The melting candle wax hurt and whole thing was briefly lodged in my throat. As soon as I came up from the head slam, I was choking, and I slid out of my chair sideways, managing to bang my head on the corner of the table. I had to go to the ER because the candle scratched my throat so bad on the way out I was coughing up blood, and because I needed 4 stitches in the side of my head from the corner of the table. I had a minor concussion, though it's disputed whether that happened when I hit the table or the floor. I later learned that she and my friends had planned a face slam into a cake they'd made, as friends do. Someone in the other room told her it was cake time, and she genuinely thought it was the moment she was supposed to slam my face, not actual cake time. No hard feelings. Anyway, apparently in the rush to get me to the hospital, my dog Barbie, she was a gift for my 7th birthday, I know it's a crappy name, got out of the house. We got a call while I was in the hospital that Barbie got hit by one of my friends on their way out of the driveway. My little brother blamed me because Barbie wouldn't have gotten out. nor would my friend have been leaving and hit her had it not been for my stupid birthday. I turned 20 something this week. It better be good. The last sentence sounded so ominous in my head that it made the story so much better. 20th birthday at uni. Mum has a cake delivered to me to have with friends. I invite a bunch of people. Everyone shows up except one guy and my girlfriend. Turns out they got everyone to go to my party to distract me while they fricked just a few doors down the hall. Years later, that still hurts when I think about it. Ouch, that is bad. You're much better off without her. My mum committed suicide on my 2nd birthday, which of course I don't remember, but there's a pretty somber mood at the family dinner every year. For my 20th birthday, I made a Facebook group like a week in advance for a party at my house. Invited probably 25 people including my 2 roommates, who were both over 21. Not one of my friends came, and my roommates went to the bars. Awesome. The trick is to put the invite out on Reddit instead of Facebook. You'll get a lot of strange people, but you'll have an awesome time. Either that or rape. On my 21st birthday, December 2010, I was scheduled to fly home from London, where I studied abroad, to the US. I thought it would be great. 32 hours of birthday, but my flight ended up being cancelled due to the terrible snowstorm that year. I spent my birthday alone at a hotel bar in Crawley, a very small town by Gatwick Airport. I got a free cocktail, but only because the cook at the bar forgot to cook the pizza I ordered. To top it all off, couldn't get a flight home for another 5 days. My last birthday I turned 19. Well, I had my hip reconstructed 5 days before my birthday, so I was in the hospital. IV, oxygen, blood transfusion, you name it. Well, no one wanted to spend the night with me the night before, so I woke up on my birthday alone. I had arranged for a hospital birthday party. Lame but still. So I put on a bit of makeup and a bra and shirt, which I hadn't done since I had surgery. I asked the nurses to wash my hair and had them help style it. It was around 6, so everyone was off work. Not one call or text. I was literally laying there for 12 hours awake anticipating this party with my family and friends. 4 people in total showed up. My mom, her BF, my sister and her BF. I didn't get one present. Then I asked if I could get a pizza. Hospital food blows. And I also asked for garlic bread, which was $2.99. Well, my mom decided that the garlic bread was too expensive, so all we got was a medium pizza. I only got 1 slice. Everyone left after 2 hours. I've never cried so hard in my life. It is my birthday this week. My granddad died last week. Yesterday my girlfriend of 4 years broke up with me, and my family have decided to go to Italy for the week. Without me, I live 300 miles from all of my friends. I'm pretty low. Go for a hike. Dedicated to yourself and positive thoughts of your grandfather. I like to use nature to help me clear my mind. It's always there for me. Ponder the future atop a mountain and stride back an inspired man. I don't know if this will make you feel better, but at least you have birthdays. I was raised in a religion that doesn't allow birthday celebrations, so I'm 30 and have never had a cake, a party, cards or presents. The good news is though that last year I left that religion behind and I am finally free. Your friends don't really sound like friends, and I hope you find some new ones soon who really care about you. For my big 40 birthday, since I am really big into swing dancing, I decided to invite everyone I knew out to a dance hall for the party. Every single person I invited cancelled, so I just thought fuck it, I don't need them to have fun. I can go just by myself and still have a good time. But when I got to the dance hall, the parking lot was empty, the lights were off, doors were locked, and a piece of paper was taped to the door saying the dance had been cancelled. TLDR, a negative number of people showed up for my 40th birthday party. My birthday is on the 1st of January. You'd think people would remember, but everyone forgets. That's okay though. Celebrating New Year's is enough for me. I'm well into my 30s now, but for every year since my 14th birthday, my parents have been out of town on my birthday. It's fine now that I'm married, I celebrate with my family, but when I was younger, it sucked hard. I remember a lot of sad birthdays that I've never said anything about. My worst was when I turned 18. I thought my friends and I would go do something fun. No one wanted to do anything. So I bought a cupcake, put a candle in it, blew it out after I ate my McDonald's takeout and went to bed. It was my 8th birthday and my parents were fighting a lot, and about a year later they got divorced. I asked my mum if I could go to Toys R Us to get some crappy plastic toys. She agreed, but she couldn't drive. So we asked my dad if he would drive me. Being the miserable bugger he reluctantly agreed, and he drove us to Toys R Us. Once we got there I wanted to get about £10 worth of toys. Only a few. Even though we weren't poor or anything. He got really mad and told me I couldn't have anything because I was spoiled. I really wasn't. He just grew up really poor and didn't get anything as a child. He ended up driving off and leaving me and my mum at Toys R Us, which was about 50 miles away from our house. I got really upset and we had to walk around for hours looking for a train station. Once we had found it, we spent about 4 hours getting home because it was almost midnight and there was hardly any trains on. I got home and my mum and dad were both really angry at each other and I was really sad. It might not sound that bad, but I was really distraught. TLDR. My dad drove me and my mum to the toy shop about 50 miles away. He drove off without us. We spent about 5 hours getting home. I was distraught, and it was my 8th birthday. Spent the entirety of my 16th birthday editing a group project by myself because all my partners were off hanging with friends or eating dinner with their families. Spent my 18th birthday at my retail job. Woohoo. Spent my 19th birthday crying on a webcam with my best friend, who couldn't be there because one of my closer friends who actually did come visit decided to be a dong, make a scene, and walk out. My 20th is in a few days. I have little to no expectations, lol. My 16th birthday party was almost great. My friends and I had plans to go to a restaurant I really liked. We had just made a Facebook event. Everything. Around 20 people were invited. I never got to find out how many would have showed up, because about 2 weeks before the party my great-grandmother, who I loved quite dearly, kicked the bucket, and my family had to drive to Santa Barbara for her funeral, which was scheduled exactly on my birthday. There was cake there, though, so that was cool. In all fairness, Santa Barbara is a cool city. I turned 18 and I got some cookies with nuts from my grandma. I'm allergic, and a post-it note from my aunt. Basically my grandma likes to use presents and gifts as weapons and I told her to frick off. Then my brother got $3,000 the next day for a car he wanted to buy. He had turned 16 a few months ago. Jokes on her, he bought me McDonald's. Oh man, that sucks. WTF, seeing this made me angry. You should really explain how stupid your grandma is to her. I spent my 21st in Lethbridge, Ab. I was there for temporary work, so I was forever alone, and on the day before, I was ankle deep in a compost pile consisting of manure and rotted cow carcasses. As a current resident of Lethbridge, I can verify that even if you were not forever alone on your birthday, it would have been subpar. Lethbridge is a crappy place. I turned 12 and invited like 10 of my friends over. Then at school the day before they all were talking about this trip they were all taking the day of my birthday. I had invited them 1 month prior so they could mark the date. They didn't even invite me to go on said trip. Day of my birthday only 2 of the 10 are supposed to come. I get a phone call. It's one bailing on me, claiming her mom grounded her or something random. By this time I'm not going to be surprised if the one last friend comes over. Turns out she does. Great. Did I mention my sister was allowed to unite a couple of friends over because I was inviting a lot? She invites 2. They both show up for a sleepover. The one friend who came over for my party ends up hanging out with my sister and her friends the whole time. And that stopped all my birthday parties. Although the next year I just had family over and it was kick butt. I've had a few crappy birthdays, but the one that took the cake was when I had to go to my uncle's wake on my birthday. He was a dang good man and was changing his life around for the awesome with a great new wife and her kids and was getting healthy, and life gave him a big frick you with a heart attack in his sleep. The only good thing about my uncle's wake was it was at an Irish pub and his frat buddies bought out the bar. I never drank so much in my life and ate so much good food. Thankfully never got a hangover, and the trip back home I spent it in the back of my parents' car texting my now fiancé in tears. I'm getting married in November and I hope he'll watch me walk down that aisle from heaven. Last year, we buried my best friend's dad on my birthday. Because my parents were druggies and didn't care, my best friend's parents kinda took me in. Though it was a sad day, I was with my best friends all that day. Where I come from, 18 is when you have a huge party, invite everyone and get s-faced. I didn't expect anything for my birthday though. Maybe some cake, and some family coming over. A week before my birthday my mom confessed that she had actually planned a surprise party, and sent out invites a month in advance. Bought booze and rented a place. But, no one had RSVP'd. So alone, I had to text everybody 2 days after they were supposed to answer, and everyone said no. That was great. Just great. Never felt so depressed before. People are idiots. It was my 8th birthday and I was staying with an aunt while my mother was in America and my father in the Middle East. What made it so bad for me was that it was just like an ordinary day. Yeah, I got phone calls from my parents, but my family did nothing. Not even a happy birthday or a $5 cake from the supermarket. That crap is so depressing when you're just a kid. You ever see one of those 4 Veralone comics where it's the guy's birthday and no one calls TXTS wanting to hang out or even wish him a happy birthday except his mom posting something on Facebook? Yay, 'twas a sad birthday. Here we go. 15th birthday, in a hospital bed with no friends or family there. Even the nurses or doctors didn't talk to me that day. 16th birthday, invited friends to a water park. All paid, and no one called back or answered since they stopped talking to me when I was in the hospital. 17th birthday, boyfriend dumped me. Threw a day party. Only 3 people of 40 showed up. Spent all my savings on a DJ and food etc. The 3 people stayed for 1 hour and left. 18th birthday, was kicked out of my house. Slept outside and then worked the entire next day. 19th birthday, was slightly better. My boyfriend and I got into an argument after dinner. He told me about my friend's surprise party they were throwing for me and then proceeded to leave me in the parking lot. Had to take a taxi home. 20th birthday is Wednesday. I am working from 7 am Thursday, 7 am the next day. Working 24 hours has to be better, right? Wednesday is my birthday too. I really dislike birthday parties. People singing at me is one of my least favorite experiences. But Prometheus opens, so my partner is happy we can do something for it. I was mugged on my 18th birthday by about 6-8 guys. I never had a chance, got hit from behind by someone I didn't know was there. I got beat half to death that night. It's pretty high on my worst day of my life list. It could always be worse. Every single year, excepting the few times it fell on a weekend, my birthday was the day after we got report cards from school. So I'd come home with a bad report card and be grounded on my birthday. When I was turning 6 I invited all of my kindergarten class, 30-ish kids. My parents got a huge cake, a big peanut, and even a bounce house which took up the driveway. Only one kid showed up and her brother. I cried and ate my cake in the bounce house. When I was, 16 I made big plans to go to Anime Expo with a bunch of friends and my mom said she'd pay as a birthday gift. A day before the event she came up to me and said I couldn't go because my 23-year-old stepsister had used up all the money and there was nothing left. We were living from paycheck to paycheck. She apparently just ate electricity, talked on the phone constantly aka long distance, and my dad constantly gave her money. I cried. My mom cried. Ended up having a small odd weird pizza party with a couple of friends. My 21st birthday, Las Vegas. Took my boyfriend and a few friends. One of my friends decided to be super overly dramatic during the trip, causing everyone to side with her, and oh poor you her. She would go out of her way to take everyone with her and my boyfriend and I were always by myself. On my actual birthday we went to a show and afterwards she got sick and went to bed. For some reasons the others went to bed as well. And I mean it was only 11 PM in Las Vegas. Plus she ended up having some crazy emotional meltdown later in the year and I didn't talk to her for about a year. She's a better person now and is very upset about her behavior and is trying to make my birthday this year really special. I'll be turning 23, we'll see. When I was in the 4th grade, I invited 7 or 8 girls to my birthday party. My mom bought all sorts of stuff for use to make our own little pizzas, and my brother even invited his friends over so it could be even more fun. As the time for the guests to arrive rolled around, I sat in the windowsill of a window next to our door and waited, and waited, and waited. No one showed up. My brother valiantly tried to invite me to play with his friends, but I was heartbroken and spent the night crying in my room. I didn't even eat a tiny pizza. Every single year my dad would find a new way to ruin my birthday. He was an alcoholic. Most years he would come home and throw food at me, or accidentally break my presents. Sometimes he would beat my mother. I never had birthday parties in case he decided to be at them. Drunk or sober, he hated anyone other than himself getting attention. Don't even ask me about Christmas time. My 21st birthday, 5 college buddies agreed to meet me in Vegas. I had left school already. 2 dropped out 2 weeks or so before. 2 bailed the day I was getting on the plane. The last one lived there, had to go out of town for a family emergency, sat in the very sad El Cortez bar, cheapest place to stay in Vegas, and had my first legal drink at 12:02. Didn't get carded. Actually had her chat me up. I was almost tempted. We talked. I told her my story, but she decided that I was too nice a guy and had already had enough disappointment. WTF. She was probably a dude. That would explain the last line. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.